Okay. I've got my Egyptian licorice tea. I'm ready to continue. Got a little bit of time before I have to go. So let's go ahead and start working on locations. Mm. So that's loading. Um, Still got a lot of asset packs loaded up. I'll start including those in the list so I can give credit to the artists that make all this stuff. But it's a long list. Um, I'll put it somewhere like on my channel or something. That way I don't have to crowd the description of every single video. But what I'm thinking is, I think we already have mapped out a town here, and then like a fortification here, just inside the Highlands. But I think these guys here are going to be under the direct influence. Like, this is probably all going to be under the influence of Nesh, Bardaka. Um, so these guys here are probably going to be independent states. The desert people probably aren't going to like having another large state in a fortified location such as a mountainous region. So they're going to probably try and work through diplomacy or other means to keep these guys separate. But just a little bit further, it's going to be a little bit out of reach. So maybe we'll see like a couple independent towns on this riverway, some farmlands, but then uh, maybe like a warlord or some type of baron equivalent, a petty king, controls these mountains up here since they're so secluded. Um, then maybe, maybe a kingdom here all along. Maybe these guys are under the influence of these guys, and then probably more independent states down here, just because it's wide open, more like city states. Because there's not really any natural fortifications, so it's going to be difficult to control the land unless you're a large empire. Um, so maybe another kingdom inside of this valley here, and then some more independent states because it's a very wild woodland. So it's going to look like, in general, a more wild region compared to Nesh Bardaka, or Nech Bardaka, whatever it's called. Um, so let's get our reference images. I guess I only just need one. There's a bridge. It looks like here. Um, there's a bridge here. Yeah, we already have an outpost up here on this ridge line here. So it's under the influence of this like Kaya star. And then that bridge is out of view, so we can leave that alone. Okay. Let's get our red wing for our red wings mountains. And let's throw down that outpost since we know that that's there. Scrolling. Alright. What else we have a little settlement here. And looks like we have a settlement here, just at the edge. Okay. Now beyond that, though, it's all pretty much free reign. Let's drop our unicorn. Back before everyone was literate, or I should say, after the second time people lost literacy during the early Middle Ages, people did not know names of locations because they could not read. Names of locations were built off of the iconography. So, like taverns were known by the symbol they had over their door. So, like, the two-headed goose was called the two-headed goose because it hung a sign over its door that was a painting of a two-headed goose, right? So, I think iconography is really big whenever you're building that sort of time period of worlds. Like, I think like literacy rate during the height of the Roman Empire was like 70%, and then after it collapsed in the West, after it collapsed, I think it dropped down to like 3% because really just like scribes involved with the church or courts were literate. Um, and similarly, during the Bronze Age, I think literacy climbed up to like 5%, because it was really just scribes that were reading. Um, and then obviously it completely collapsed. Um, we, as a modern society, had to rediscover how to read, all the different Mesopotamian languages and hieroglyphs, and we still don't know how to read, what is it, Linear A, the Minoan Greek text. So, yeah, literacy came very small, dropped off the face of the earth. Literacy came back, decent size, dropped down to very small, came back. Now literacy is everywhere. I think like the U.S. hosts like 90% literate population, and the U.S. is on the tail end of that scale. Most countries are in the 90s, if not high 90s. Um, yeah, iconography. Let's throw down some locations. Uh, Around small settlement here. Probably like a hermitage on this road. Let's drop down a keep. Keep in these mountains. And then maybe a wizard tower, as a wizard enjoys their autonomy. And in a region like this, they probably have quite a bit of it. Let's drop down another wizard tower here. And we'll do a manor. Tucked up right here. This is kind of out of the reach as well. Let's drop a castle here. Any cities? You know, we're probably going to want a city, um, but it'll probably be like here, and then we'll maybe, cause this is a pretty big, uh, what's it called, confluence. You got two tributaries into a small river, two tributaries into the main river, and it's gonna be probably gonna be a lake right here. A large amount of water is flowing here. Um, and it's not a very high altitude, so it's likely to get caught up in something, or maybe beavers, right, or something adjacent to beavers in this world, uh, making a log jam. Let's draw a church here, and then another settlement here. Make another settlement here and here. Maybe these guys are like miners or something, or quarrymen, or well, no, maybe not quarrymen because we don't really have any large. Well, maybe this town, yeah, maybe a quarry. Maybe they're quarrying the rock face of the mountain. But let's go ahead and make some paths so we can see which way people might flow. Okay, so we have a road. So coming out like this. And down. And then we'll make a dirt pathway. A somewhat secluded people. And then there's a pathway leading out to this outpost, so a dirt road. So those are the ones that we know of. From here, though, roadway to this manor. Make a dirt pathway around through the mountains, down to the wizard tower. Out like that. And then we'll maybe make another pathway through the mountains. It's down to a bridge. And then castle. Town. City. Follows the river. Comes out. Wizard Tower. Good fording point. These guys are probably on dirt paths. edge of the wood, there might be another settlement. Maybe leading up here to another town. Much more pathways compared to the desert, just because there's more hospitable locations for people to be. So, so let's work on this region since we have it a little bit mapped out now. Switch back to symbols, let it load for an age and a half. Okay. Let's drop down a town here. Another town here. Town here. Let's get some farmlands. Or actually, let's hold off on the farmlands and throw down some bridges. Let's rotate. Oop, way too much. I don't like that. I don't like that either. Why is my control C not working? There it goes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That'll have to do for now. Another one. And then we set that to 0. Drop them there. Okay. Looking good. Looking nice. Let's maybe drop a small town here. They're going to feed these guys. And maybe another one here. Populate it up a little bit. Small town here. And then maybe a hamlet. What's the likelihood no one takes advantage of this pass? Probably pretty low, right? Let's drop a wizard tower here in the woods. I don't know. I always feel like I was talking about, wizards love autonomy. You're more likely to run into wizards in wildlands than in places with strong central governments, because wizards are basically nukes, and strong central governments like to be in control of nukes. So they're just less likely to exist within proper kingdoms unless they're sanctioned by whatever monarch is in control. I feel. Strap this bad boy. That looks pretty cool. Is that out of place? I don't think so. Maybe drop town here. That'll supplement that city. A small hermitage that tends to the Great Oak. Probably a town hangs out right here. Hmm. It's looking pretty nice. I don't know, is it like maybe the size that's throwing me off? Maybe I gotta make these buildings bigger. Because like this compared to this, or even this compared to this, I don't know. Maybe I need to make them larger. Let's keep moving forward though. We'll come back to it later. What else do we need? We have our locations, at least for the most part, in the woodlands, or in the highlands. We can work on locations in the forests. Or we can detail out those locations, dropping in farms and stuff. Yeah, let's detail out. Let's first switch to our selector so we can change the size of some of these things. So, selected. Oh, that's not enough. Let's do 2. Oh my god. Okay. Bring it back down to 1. I guess that makes sense. I just. Oh. F5. Let's just Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Boom. Boom. Maybe the wizard tower is alright. No, that's probably good. Okay, so if we're envisioning control, probably no man's land, right, or wild land. Probably direct control of this lord in between the mountains and these tributaries and these tributaries. And then I guess these guys will probably control this valley here, or maybe not this section because the wizard, but maybe like along the rivers and up through here and around like that. And then maybe these guys will work together. Maybe these guys are like druids and this is like a druid circle. Well, a druid circle? Maybe just sort of a magic conclave working in partnership with this, you know, petty king. And they control this valley and these mountains. Free folk, wizard. Maybe these guys pay tribute to this guy, or maybe it's a common battleground between the more populous but less warlike city-state over here, and the less populous, more warlike kingdom over here. Did I say that right? Less populous, more warlike, more populous, less warlike. It's just a more violent environment, a more difficult environment to live in than it is here. So, very different cultures, because they need different things from their people, right? If you have to fight mountain lions and ogres and dragons over hundreds of years, you're going to value more violent people because they're able to do more inside of those stressful situations. If you don't have all that happening all the time, you're going to value them less, not because of any other reason, like you have a less violent environment, but maybe because, you know, it's just not as necessary, and so those people are more seen as nuisances, maybe. You don't want people constantly trying to start a fight whenever you're trying to get everyone to obey law and order. This is a nice little alcove. So is this though. Maybe two rival. Maybe initially same clan, but then different clan. Maybe just down here, and I don't know. I don't know. But that looks good for the scale. I'll have to try and keep that in mind whenever I'm placing more buildings later on. Let's go ahead and hop over to our vegetation and drop in some of these sick-ass farm fields. Boom. Bing. Bip. Up. Bing. Oop. Bong. Zips up. Mollywop. They have irrigation? They have irrigation. pretty good to me. Let's drop this one down since I remember this guy's. Maybe they're mainly fishermen, but fishermen and foresters and huntsmen, but they're still going to need base crop, and they're probably going to have animal husbandry, so they're going to have like pigs, cows, chickens, goats. Okay, let's hop over to our land tab so we can hit the paint, and let's paint up these bad boys. Maybe like that. Yeah. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Am I on time? Okay, pretty good. We gotta go in like 30 minutes, but should leave plenty of time to finish out this. Oh wait, what does this have? Yeah, there's farms over here. So let's hop back to our trees, back to our farms. Boom. 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 Okay. Are there any like wild animals that I have? No, not really. Let's go ahead and do our cool ass name labels, text. Let's crank it up to 64. The Red Winged Highlands. Let's throw it over here, since we're not really using this space. Sharpen? Yeah. Let us make the outline darker. Make this brighter. Yeah, I like that more. Do I like that more? I think once we drop down our clouds, it'll look better. Ooh, okay. These ones. Because they don't take on the color. Right? Yeah. I don't like that. isn't the cause I used last time, is it? Is it these ones? Let's go to the selector, make sure these are. This one, cool. Oh, kind of looks like a wing if you smoke crack before you look at it. Alright. Hmm. Okay, let's switch back to our symbols, our location symbols. Alright. We'll fix that later. Excuse me. Let's drop in some mines. Cool. These guys are also miners. Let's drop in some stones. Do we have any waterfall locations? Not really. I didn't really make it out that way. It's a shame. I always kind of like waterfalls, but I never really make the space for them. Let's throw down some ruins. Just maybe a ruined outpost from Neshkvartaka. Maybe this is a destroyed wizard tower or something. And then we'll have the actual keep here. Some standing stones. standing stones. An old gate, maybe. Oh, do we have something? Do I like that? Maybe. I think I like that. Is that too different from the previous art style? I don't think so. Maybe this is an outpost overlooking a trade pathway that leads down the river to the coast. Let's throw up some cool flags. No, it's not. Well, that's a much better tree. That's way too fucking big. Yeah, now we're looking more at like the top-down pieces I have. This isn't really what I need right now. I'm pretty sure I have an army marching somewhere deep in the bowels of my symbol list. Oh. A man dancing? Oh no, two men arguing. Okay, I like that there. This is a knight. I know, a man talking to an angel. It's placed in here. I like these pieces. Kind of like that location. It's already kind of crowded. Okay. Let's keep looking. Hunters. Let's throw down some hunters. Are these fishermen? This is a hunter. Okay. This man trying to control a horse. Man thrown off of his horse.
this an execution? Jesus. A battle. Let's drop this bad boy right there. Some more scrolling. Okay. Not be too divergent from our original art style. Near that symbol. Yeah. The black and white doesn't really fit here. Oh, I love these though. What do you got for me? Oh, that's a real shame. We'll have to make a black and white map at some point. Since the winds come up from the south. Oh, true. Next time, let's work on the detailing of the region, and we can start making some coats of arms. Yeah, maybe, I mean, I'm only halfway through the list, Jesus, but, oh, here we go. I was just talking about animals, and now we have some animals. Only uno, though. ¿Por qué no más? Well, this is very exciting, isn't it? Just watching me scroll for like 15 minutes straight. Maybe this is a sign. This is about all we can get done for now. Let's just work on paths and labels. Yep, that's what I'll do. It's a shame that I made it all this way and only got a couple more pieces. I guess that's what greed gets you, right? Greed just gets you more work. Finish this out on pathway. Oh, Jesus.
then we'll probably change this around a little bit more since there's a road going out this way. We'll build some more locations. These guys gonna have their road on this side of the river, so they can access this magical grove. Boom. These guys pay homage. And these guys on this side of the river. Let's see, did I leave anyone out? I don't think so. But yeah, if I'm gonna use this for a campaign, I kind of want to leave it not filled all the way. That way the players throughout their adventures maybe find a new location and then they can add it to the map, and then it feels like they're helping build the world, which I think is rewarding for players. I mean, depending on the player, but most people seem to like it, so I think inclusion is the key to running a good game. Making it to where they're not just playing your story, we're all making a story together. Yeah, let's go on pathways. Let's go ahead and flip to labels. So we'll name this maybe it's themed after the battle here. So maybe Vale. Maybe the Valley of Storms. And since let's crank this down. So not named after the battle, but named after the fact that that's pretty much where the storms end, because the mountain ranges probably break off a lot of the storm winds. And then we'll name this one the Dragon's Maw, and that's just this whole valley here. Do I like that? Yeah, maybe the people just like call it the Maw, and they call this Storm's End. So like, heralds across the Maw declare that the king of Kaya Star has died without an heir. Yeah, maybe. Let's call this like crows, perch. We'll crank this back around this way. Slide it over. Yeah. That's probably fine like that. this the Forgotten Fields. And this place, come it the other way. I could just call it the Great Wood. Size 48. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We got some good titles. Yeah. Let's go ahead and crank it through some foreign languages. So, let's look at a language group map of the world.
This isn't really what I'm looking for. Maybe not language group, maybe culture group
Of the world. Culture group map of the world.
This is religions. I don't care. What is this? Basically what I'm looking for is the relation of a whole bunch of different cultures so I can get an idea of what might be related to what as I make this. So, maybe we can look at some. I mean, I know I was talking about related to Arabic or Ethiopian, but maybe we can do some Native American languages because they're kind of. This isn't exactly similar. It's probably. Well, it's kind of like Appalachia Ozarks, I guess, in its terrain. Even though there's no desert in freaking the Carolinas or Georgia. I think it'll be appropriate. Let's look up some Osage.
Or, am I saying that right? Osage? I think I'm saying that right. Translation. Google Translate. English. To oh, there is no Osage inside Google Translate. I can search though. So let's look up storm. Oh gosh, there's no pronunciation. Maybe we don't use the Osage then, because I don't want to give any more, you know, negative impact to these people than they already face in everyday life. So let's look at, was it Ugrit? Oh, Yucatec Maya. They have similar pronunciations, like in terms of sound. Or Hungarian. I hate to go back to the old world, but Vihar. Vjolj. Vjolj. Vjolj Vihar. Valley of Storms and Vihar Vegenik Volkje. That's kind of a mouthful. Let's do it. Vihar Vegenik Volkje. Vegenik Volkje. Oh, I don't want that. Oh, I don't want that. Hopefully I just don't click on that again. Dragon's Maw. Sharkan Saya. Let's say the. Might just be The. Yeah, Sharkan Saya. Jesus. Sharkan Saya. Crow's Perch. Varuhu Sugir. Varju Sugir. Varju Sugir. How do I keep doing that? Come on now. Varju Sugir. And then, I'm trying to remember geography at the top of my head. Forests nearby to where the Magyar conquest happened. Moldavia? Wallachia? We could look at Wallachian. Let's look at Wallachian. Wallachian is no longer a language, I guess. I don't know. We could do Romanian, but Romanian is Latin, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Latin. Moldavian? Nope, no Moldavian. Nope. No, not Serbian. That's way too off. Wallachian translator. Where'd my mouse go? The Great Wood. Translate. this off here in a second. Paduria Maria. See, but that sounds like it's Latin. Mare. Okay. Kurdish. The Great Wood. It doesn't pronounce Kurdish, so it doesn't help me. Armenian? I don't know. Armenians don't really. That doesn't pronounce Armenian. Why doesn't it pronounce Armenian? I don't know. They have a pretty similar sound profile. Armenian translator. Great. Wood. Armenian pronunciation. It's just giving me how to pronounce Armenian. Well, I think that's what I'm gonna have to call it for now, because I gotta get ready. But pretty much done, I guess. I'll come back through and change it later, but I think I'm going to leave this be for now. Maybe focus on the Great Wood that extends out. Let's see. You know, from the previous video, Red Winged Turtonia. So, I'll probably do this southern region, I guess, next. I really want to get up to here, but I think this is the next natural movement. This is sort of like southern plains land coast. Yeah. So, boom, done, boom. Honestly, boom, done. So I'll do this region next, and then I'll probably do this region, and then I'll do the hole. That way I can have this hole, and this hole, and then I'll probably do this region, and then I'll do this region, and then I'll do this region, and then I'll do all of this for a hole. So I'll have boom, 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 this region, this region, probably do that as a piece. Yeah. And then I'll somehow connect it to my other lands that I've already made. But yeah, looking good.